Hi everyone, you've tuned in to BNSN The Weekend Show, and this is the show where we discuss your individual stock queries and discuss the portfolio. It's time to introduce our guest now. Gaurang Shah, VP Geojit BNP Paribas Financial Services, joins us on the show to discuss the fundamental side of the stocks. From the technicals, we have Kunal Bothra, Head Retail Advisory at LKP. Well, thanks very much both of you for joining us on the show. Okay, let's discuss the queries then. Our first query today is from Sandeep Singh. He's a student from Hyderabad.
I bought Hindustan Copper 500 shares at the rate 145. Should I hold or average?
Okay, Gaurav, starting off with you, well, if you look at this count on YTD basis, it's not done well. But if you look at the September quarter earnings, they were pretty good. EPS has gone up on YOY basis. The profits were up 30%. Would you advise Sandeep to hold on to this particular stock?
Well, Navneet, I think the optimism has grown even brighter post these numbers. And actually, if you just see the reasons why the stock has corrected sharply was more because of the dilution of stake by the government of India, wherein it was offered at a very deep discount to what the CMP was when it was trading pre-dilution. My view is that, yeah, the bad days are over and this particular stock could do a bounce back. The investor will need to have a little bit of more patience with the stock. Since it has corrected sharply, it might see spells or bouts of profit booking at higher level. On a longer term period, I expect the stock to reach a target of 120. So if he's got an investable amount, I think sub 60, 65 levels, if he can average, because his cost is somewhere close to about 145. I don't see those targets getting attained, at least in the medium to long term. But if he can average, then definitely he can come out in profit.
Right, so 120 is the target which Gaurang is suggesting. Let's check on the charts. Kunal, would you advise Sandeep to hold on, and what are the technicals suggesting for Hindustan Copper?
Well, I think you might be in for probably a short-term trend or a short-term uptrend for Hindustan Copper. But I think if you're looking at a longer-term picture for Hind Copper, I don't see the stock probably running out, crossing even that 100 levels in the next couple of months. At least the technical picture currently does not gives us the confidence on the chart. So my sense is probably at any rallies close to 80, I think you can look to exit the stock completely from your portfolio and probably look at some of the other frontline stocks. I think something like Phenolics, Cables, etc. Even Oro Pharma, Arvind, these are stocks which are looking very good in terms of momentum and probably might fetch you better returns as compared to a Hindustan Copper. So I would say exit on rallies till 80. Look out for investing in better stocks currently.
All right, Sandeep, on the technicals, Kunal is suggesting it's advisable to exit from Hindustan Copper at levels of 80, and probably you can look into invest, into stocks like Aurobindo Pharma. Well, then moving on to our second query, which comes in from Manish Shah from New Delhi, and he has a query on BHEL. Let's hear him out.
Is it worth buying at current levels, or we should hold for some another levels?
Gaurang, okay, he wants to know whether it is advisable to buy into the stock. And well, if you look at the valuations, they do look cheap because BHEL is trading at a PE of about 4 to 5. And even if you look at price to EV per EBITDA, that's also in the range of between 4 to 5 times. Would you advise him to buy into BHEL at these valuations?
Well, firstly, don't buy it at current levels. Don't even buy it at any lower levels from here. And the fact that it is trading at lower P's deserves to get traded at lower P's, because the numbers were an absolute disaster according to me. And if you actually see this quarter numbers, it was more to the other income component that you saw a little bit of positivities. Order book is there, execution is a problem. So margins, I believe, will definitely shrink going from here on. And in my view, in cap goods engineering space, if you're looking at getting invested, then the only stock that we are having a positive bias and as a disclosure, a buy coverage is L&T. Again, preferably to buy on dips with a target of about 1050.
All right, so the fundamental view is to avoid BHEL, and probably from the caps goods space, you can look into buy into stock like Larsen and Tubro. Okay, let's also get a technical check on that. Kunal, when you look at the stock BHEL, I believe on YTD basis, it's fallen nearly 40%. Would you advise him to buy into this counter?
I think what's most important when you probably look to buy any stock is the time and the kind of momentum you're anticipating, because BHEL has been in this trading range of close to 135 or 145 for the last, I think, 1 or 2 months, and probably now also the current technical picture suggests that probably it might continue the sideways movement for at least a week or so. So I believe probably the investor has to time this both in terms of timing as well as in terms of price, and my sense is probably if the stock crosses that 145 barrier, only then probably he could look to enter, or he should look to enter into long positions on BHEL. Probably then you can have a target of close to 165 with a stop loss of 135. So I would ask the investor to buy only above 145.
Okay, so the technical view is to enter the stock at 145 with the target of about 165 rupees. But on the fundamental side, it's a big no-no, and probably look at a stock like L&T. Okay, our third query today is from Rohit Rajput. Let's listen him out.
I have 200 shares of Dr. Reddy Laboratories purchased at 2480. So I would like to have your expert advice. Should I hold them or sell at the market price and come out with a loss?
Gaurang, what would you advise on Dr. Reddy's? Well, if you look at the stock, it's done fairly well, and the numbers were also good, which were above the street estimates.
Well, absolutely don't be in any hurry to sell the stock. Again, a disclosure, we have a positive coverage. Numbers were good as per our expectation, and my belief is the way the entire pharma pack is performing, especially Dr. Reddy's being the frontline boy in the pharma pack, we expect the numbers for the next couple of quarters to come out even better than what we've seen this time around. Hold on for a target of about 2650.
Okay, 2650 is the target from the fundamental side, and yes, the suggestion coming in there is to hold on to this particular stock. But on the technical side, Kunal, for the week it was higher by about 2.5%. Do you see further upside going in for Dr. Reddy's?
Yeah, I think the trend is definitely bullish, and probably the stock, after seeing some sort of a subdued correction, probably a couple of months back in the month of August, I think it's now resumed its uptrend. It's broken the the highs of August, which is a good sign for a stock. It's trending above the 50-day moving average, which also is a good technical picture or technical outlook for the stock. So I believe that the investor has entered into a good stock. Probably the price seems to be a little high. So I think at this point he should have a trading view rather than have a positional view at Dr. Reddy. But I would say probably 2600 is a good level where you can book profits there, and your stop loss should be at around 2380.
Time to discuss the model portfolio, and we are discussing the portfolio of Gaurang Goenka. He's 35 years of age and he's a businessman, and his time horizon is only 6 months, so that's a short-term time horizon. Let's look at his portfolio. He's got 10 stocks in his portfolio. He's got Idea Cellular, 2000 shares, which he purchased at a price of about 157 rupees. He's also got JB Chemical, 1000 shares of that at 97 rupees. Wakrangi Software, 2000 shares at about 68 rupees. Nitin Fire, he purchased 10,000 shares at about 57 rupees. He's also got D-Link from the small cap space, 15,000 shares at 29.75, and Muthoot Financial, 5,000 shares at 110.75. He's also got Crompton Greaves, 1,000 shares of that, which he purchased at a price of about 84, and from the banking space, he's got Federal Bank, 1,000 shares of that, which he purchased at 77 rupees. Also from the pharma space, mid-cap pharma stock, Shasun Pharma, 2,000 shares of that at 68 rupees, and TBZ, which he purchased 1,000 shares of that at about 127 rupees. Well, then let's look at the overall view. Gaurang, what did you make of his portfolio? Well, I didn't see any blue chip stocks featuring in his portfolio.
I think that's the problem, Navneet, when you're looking for a short-term time horizon of 6 months, and if you buy into more of small cap and mid cap stocks, then the chances or the success rate becomes even more dismal, especially in this kind of a market wherein after making a new high, you're finding extremely difficult to sustain higher levels. So my view is that he's got some good stocks. He can sell the ones which are rather underperforming, or according to my view are not really worthwhile holding on. He can add on to the ones that he's already got, or he can make a new switch. So I think there are a couple of stocks wherein he needs to churn the portfolio.
Okay, right. Time now to dissect his portfolio, looking at each stocks. Well, the first three stocks which we will be discussing with Gaurang are Idea Cellular, JB Chemical and Wakrangi Software. Gaurang, what is your view on these three stocks?
Well, first on idea, extremely positive, and I think the next revolutionary thing that will happen in the telecom space is going to be 4G. Of course, it might take a while, but looking at the kind of performance and of course the quarter-on-quarter numbers, my advice would be to hold on to the stock. If you can, stretch out his time horizon from 6 months to a little bit more for the entire portfolio, you can look for a target of 200 on idea.
And what about JB Chemicals and Wakrangi Software?
Well, JB Chemicals is an outright sell. He can look at buying into Tata Global Beverages. The stock has just corrected recently from 155, 160 levels to 145. Best time to get into the stock. You can look for a target of about 200 on Tata Global Beverages. On Wakrangi Software, again, not a really encouraging stock in the IT pack and of course the smaller IT space. My advice would be to go into Power Grid with a target of about 120.
Okay, let's look at the next three stocks in his portfolio from the small cap space. He's got Nitin Fire dealing stocks where we don't see much of volume, and also Muthoot Financial. Gaurang, what would be your advice for these three stocks?
Well, dealing Nitin Fire and Muthoot, all three are sell. My view is that you got some of the underperforming stocks, no point staying invested, especially with the kind of time frame that he's got. Sell Nitin Fire, buy DCB with a target about 65. Again, you need to stretch out your time horizon. Sell D-Link, buy into a Dish TV with a target about 65 rupees. Muthoot Finance, sell it. You can buy an add into Idea Cellular, which you already got. You can possibly maximize your profit over there.
Okay, it's a sell on both Nitin Fire as well as D-Link. Let's look at the next two stocks in the portfolio. Crompton Greaves, which he purchased at 84. Also Federal Bank at 77. Gaurav, what would you advise for these two stocks?
Well, Crompton and Federal Bank hold out on a positive side for us. And we have a positive coverage on Crompton Greaves. That's my disclosure. You can look for a target of 140. Need to give it a little bit more time. On Federal Bank, he is already in profit and he can look for a target of 85. The tailwind is favoring the banking pack. And of course, Federal Bank did come out with a decent set of numbers over the last couple of quarters. So my view is that this particular bank will definitely do well going forward. So hold on to both the stocks.
Okay, hold on to Crompton Greaves as well as Federal Bank. The last two stocks in the portfolio are Shasan Pharma and TPZ. Gaurav, your view on these two stocks?
Shasan Pharma is a hold. Pharma, again, the entire pack has been doing well in profit, hold for a target of 88. TPZ, I'm not really impressed. If you're looking at export gems and jewelry segment, my bias is definitely on Titan Industries. Again, a disclosure, having a positive bias with a target of about 320.
Let's get a view on markets for the coming week. Kunal as well as Gaurang are here with us. Kunal, I'll start off with you. What should be the tactical trade on Nifty for the coming week?
I think the trend is long, Navneet, and I believe very strongly that the kind of correction we've seen is the last 6 or 7 odd trading sessions is just a correction. It does not signal that you have a start of a fresh downtrend. And the fact that you've taken Nifty has taken support of that 50-day moving average, and many of the beaten down stocks, they're now probably pulling back again. Tata Motors, for example, on Friday did a phenomenal recovery of 5 or 6 odd %. So again, these are good signs for the markets building up, and I think you need more stability from these stocks rather than probably probably a couple of sectors randomly going up, and probably the next couple of days you see these sectors going down. So I believe there is more stability in the frontline stocks, in the frontline sectors. I believe that the trend probably for the markets will resume up. Tactical trade, go long. Your stop loss, probably a positional stop loss, should be at 59.50 on Nifty spot, and probably looking for a trend of 6,300 on Nifty.
Okay, that's a long call coming on Nifty with this support of about 59.50. That's a stop loss probably you can keep there if you go long there. And Kunal, any top picks which you can see on the charts for the coming week?
Yes, I've focused my picks on the mid-cap sectors, and I think a couple of stocks there. One is Finolex Cables. The stock has already given a 52-week breakout. It's already broken off that weekly as well as monthly resistance lines at which is around 60-65. Stock is trading above 72-73 levels currently, and I believe that the stock could probably be seeing a rally of more than 10 to 15% in the next couple of weeks. My target on Finolex Cables is 84 and stop loss is 64. The second stock which I have is from the power sector, and that's PFC. Generally PFC and REC both move in tandem, but PFC is probably one step behind as compared to the momentum compared to REC. And I believe that the chart patterns here are auguring very well. PFC is just around 150 mark, so I think if it crosses 150 in the next couple of days, starting next week, I think it's a good trade to go long. Target on PFC could be 165, stop loss 142.
Okay, those are technical buy calls coming on PFC as well as Finolex cable. Gaurang, I want your view as well on the markets. What kind of levels do you see on Nifty going forward? Do you think we will be able to surpass the kind of levels we touched on moderate trading session?
Navneet, my concern is that on Friday, after 7 days of correction of close to about 1,000 plus points, the Sensex went up close to about 300 plus, but by the time the trade did wind up on Friday, we had given up those gains. Now, after a 1100 plus point correction, if you are not able to maintain 300 points, uptake, then somewhere I feel that the confidence at higher levels is getting a little bit shaken up and dampened a little bit. The steam is losing out. And people are, booking profits at higher levels. Now, that's what my view is. Secondly, on the macro front, I don't think the data suggests that you may have a meaningful rally that may take you beyond those levels of 63, 63, 50 kind of levels that we made on the moderate trading.
That's a view coming in on the markets. Gaurang, also tell us from long-term perspective, would you advise to invest into any of the stocks that you would recommend at this point of time?
Yes, Navneet, there are two fundamental buy ideas from our side. As a disclosure, both of them have been on the positive side from us, and we've been recommending our clients. One of them is Tata Motors. Post the numbers on the second quarter, we saw the stock correct to 360 levels and then bounce back. With a target of 430, you can buy Tata Motors at current levels or on dips. Sun TV is the other one. We are looking for a target about 475. Again, over here, post the numbers, we did see a correction. Fantastic time to buy the stock. And one important thing you have to keep in mind is that since these are fundamental calls, you at least need to have at least 12 to 16 months time horizon.
Okay, those are fundamental buy calls coming on Tata Motors as well as Sun TV with the time horizon of almost 12 to 15 months. Well, on that note, thanks very much to our guest Gaurang as well as Kunal for joining us and sharing your views with us.